Hi, this is Fee from Diamond in the Rough, and I thought today I would do a drill with me. I keep saying on other recordings, other clips that I've put up, I'll do a drill with me, I'll do a drill with me. And finally I've got the opportunity because I've had a bit of a hectic time lately. So yeah, and so today is the 6th of December, so 19 days till Christmas. And I'm currently working on 2 diamond paintings that have to be done for Christmas. So sorry, that's the ice machine. Okay, so this one here is the one that this is the custom, which I call the friend's wedding. I'll just scroll. I thought I'd scroll it and so you can see where it's at. Look at the shimmer on that. How effective is that? Okay, and I am fortunate because I have a desk that's big enough for this. So look at how stunning that's come out. What I will show you is I'll zoom in closely to the face. So I'm going to take you for a ride because I don't. Okay, so if I zoom in closely to the face, see the colours, see how pixelated that is. Yet you zoom out and the effect, it's gorgeous. There's probably a little bit too pinky there, but it's still a good effect and you can see who they are. Anyway, enough of their faces. So what I'm going to do is scroll along. The weight of this is now at the stage where I have to put books on it to hold it down, which I have a couple of good books. Yeah, I need to weight it down to hold it, and also it helps press those drills. Fairytales, that's a very old book. Had that for a while. Okay. Woo! In we go. Get comfortable. Okay, so I will bring this camera down. I'm just going to, underneath I've got light pads. I'm just trying to position the light pad. I've got a big A3 light pad, so that takes a little bit of moving. And over up now. I'm now at the stage where I'm no longer leaning on the bottom of my canvas. And I'll bring you down. Whoops, there we go. And light pad on. Let's try to zoom in and let's get you straight. There we go. Oh, look at that! Under the sheet. That's all 310s. Which I've actually done a section yesterday, which is probably this big, but right along. So this is 30 centimeters, and I did about a 10 centimeter piece yesterday. In less than 6 hours, I think it was, by the time I got to it. But with the stops and starts of general life in the background having to be dealt with. Whoops, hang on, I've grabbed my tray. What I did this morning, every now and then when you sit for long periods of time, you find your trays get a build-up of gunk from the drills, but also the wax from your drill pen. So I'm back to I'll be doing multi-places, using the multi-places today, which I've shown you how I've done it before. So such a big section, no tweezers, straight out multi-places. And I'm trying to find my tape measure because I want to actually measure off. Just going to measure off how much I've got left to do, which is 36 centimetres. So what I'm going to do is try and do, I suppose, 12, so then I've got 3 rows left. 12, I actually can go about there. Rightio. Rightio. So out comes the ruler, and I lost track of where I was going. 12. Yep, about that. So I'm looking at, so for you guys that deal with inches, approximately 5 inches. That's my working line. So I'm just going to cut this all the way across. Right about that line, across to the middle section. Okay, that'll do it. And tweezers, where did my tweezers go hiding? I had a fun night last night. I was on my last, about my third last colour last night. When I discovered, thankfully it was only about 10, but I'd put colours down incorrectly and had to pick them up. Oh God. Thankfully it was at the end of the section, because it was like, pick them up. Very tired, so I just finished the section and then went to bed. Ooh, and I'm still yawning because I've been out of bed for about 10 minutes. So diamond painting, as we all know, is an addiction. It's when you get out of bed, you make a coffee and you get straight into diamond painting. And I've only just taken my first sip of coffee, so there we go. That's how addicted to diamond painting I am. So I thought I'd do I've mentioned previously that I have, what's the best way to put it? I've done a few holiday trips, and in those holiday trips I'm working with 310s now, which is that big section. Talked about my holiday trips. I've been to a couple of really great places, fantastic places to go to, and I thought I did mention that I would talk about them. So I do have a website. Look how filthy that is in there. I need to replace that wax. So I have a website which has my last lot of holidays that I did, and one of those holidays I've got a photo, so the one that I call my Durban custom, that photo is actually on my website. It's actually the main picture of that, of one of my pages. So that one there, that holiday there, I thought I'd save that holiday for actually while I was working on that one, so, and go for my current holiday. Look at this, you're not seeing me do anything because I'm still setting some stuff up. Hang on. How about I bring you out and see what I'm doing? I'm actually just loading up my multi-tools at the moment so I can use them. So yeah, I thought what I'd do is I'll save my talks about my Durban holiday, but my Durban holiday, the holiday where I did my got my Durban picture from. Thought I'd save that one. Hang on while I load up my multiplacer. So I thought I'd save that one while I'm working on that custom. This custom here, I thought today I would actually talk about my last holiday. Okay, that one's loaded up. that's the 9 placer loaded up. Let's clean up the 6 placer. Yeah, so my last holiday was to Egypt. Now my website actually does have most of the story on it. There's some parts of that story that I just couldn't put on on that webpage because it went to my family. There's a couple of things that happened while I was on holidays that, although not scary or anything like that, just because travelling alone, the little things that you notice, or the little things that happen. Oops, that's not full. Load it up. So, yeah, the Egypt trip was took a bit in planning to do that. The decision to make that. Why did I decide on Egypt? I suppose I saw Egypt's a place that I would say it doesn't absolutely fascinate me. Kind of fascinates me now. My opinion on Egypt has changed now to what it used to be. Okay, I just need to slide this a little bit so I can reach. I'm not going to stretch. Okay. First move with a multi-placer. Okay, so yeah, Egypt was a different place to travel. I have a preference of actually. I do like going on cruises. I'm actually stretching here to get this lined up nicely. So yeah, prefer cruises. Nathan won't join me on cruises. My partner won't join me on cruises. His biggest comment on that is he won't join me on cruises because he can't put a fishing line over the edge of the boat. So why should he get on a boat for anything else? Just feel that. Have the 6 placer out, that's 7 there. So just counting, making sure. 6 placer, but I got 7 in there. That's how good and accurate that's for the size of these. So, okay, so yeah, so he won't go on a boat unless he can put a fishing line over the edge. So that being said, cruising is quite interesting because I get to travel solo and I love travelling solo. Solo travelling is I mean, I do like to would like to share the experiences, but solo travelling gives me a lot more flexibility. Oops, that's too big. I can decide on dates to go when it suits me, instead of having to work out dates that suit 2 or 3 of us, or 4, or however many in the travelling party. Missed. Sorry. Okay, turn it around. Doesn't help at this stage that I'm stretching a bit, but that's okay. So yeah, you don't have to worry about trying to fit in with anybody else's dates, because you can get your dates to suit yourself. You can book leave and take leave, and what's convenient to you and what you can get at work. It also means that in the planning stage I can decide, well, I want to do this, but I don't want to do this. So yeah, I get to change my itinerary up. Oh, look at that. I just put one down and that's actually the wrong colour. I've ended up with a stray in there. Okay, I can go in the stray jar. Alright. So yeah, you can pick what you want, pick and choose. Dates you want to do, where you want to go, if there's any additional things you want to see that aren't part of the first up plan, You can chop and change it without having to go ask everybody else you're travelling with. But that being said, when you travel alone like that, your trip can actually get lonely. And my last trip, I really noticed it, because the trip before was with Nathan and it was a good trip. Okay, so Egypt. Why Egypt? Why not? That's the way I look at my travel. Why not? Something got me. That's what it was. What got me was I was looking at the company where we did our last holiday through, which is the last holiday was to South Africa, and they had a range of different holidays there, and I knew if I went to South Africa or to Africa again, Nathan would want to join me, with the exception, and I was hoping he did leave it up to him, but Egypt is part of Africa. Gosh, I'm kicking some of these out of the tray. So yeah, on this company's website they had Africa trips on there, because I was actually trying to find a holiday that Nathan and I could do in Africa, but then I came across this one in Egypt. I came across a few that showed Egypt on their site. I went, well, there's a place to go. So I looked at it and went, yep. Gosh, I've stuck that to the tray. So I looked at it and went, yep, that's got to do that. Said to Nathan, I want to go to Egypt. And his response was, been there, don't want to go again. So obviously he wasn't impressed. His been there was when he was younger as a backpacker, and he went to Cairo only. So he spent, I found out he'd spent 2 days in Egypt backpacking. Gosh. After going, I can understand why he didn't like it. Okay, so yeah, he didn't want to go. So I looked around and investigated and researched, because I do a lot of I don't use a travel agent. I book where to go, flights, package, side trips. I book it all myself, which has its moments of doubt, and but so yeah, I saw this trip to Africa on trip to Egypt. Well, it was Africa, but this trip to Egypt, I went, oh, I like that. That looks really interesting. And it was 15 days to Egypt. So I got a quote from this company. I went, yep, okay, I like that idea. Looks good. And then started working out, well, when am I going to go? So I did a lot of the dream planning. No savings for it. No dates worked out. Just this is what I'd like to do. Okay. So in this is what I'd like to do. I've looked at the itinerary, looked at everything, and then over a period of time, this is months of looking and researching. Found a website, Ask Aladdin, and they had some interesting things on there. They had a lot of interesting advice, some scary shit on there, excuse the language, but yeah, the stuff they mention. But they also mention how travelling is also safe. There's some scary stuff, but it's not scary, but they're not trying to scare you from going. They're more giving you a really good advice of things not to do, things to watch out for. Huge website, very informative. I saw some people post reviews going, I'm not booking with these guys because they're trying to scare you into using them only instead of somebody else. Meh. You've got to try and work. You've got to go with what works for you, and how you get your business is how you get your business. So yeah, there's that. I've decided to make the trip. No savings in place. No plans on when I was going to do it. Just, I'm going to do it. I've got some friends of mine that actually say, when you plan to do something, you do it, don't you? Just lining these up because this one's been out of whack. As you can see, there's a big gap here. So just lining this up and sliding them up a bit. There we go, that's better. Yeah, so, as I say, if I plan to do something, it happens, I do it. No denying the fact that I'm a stubborn person, that I'll make my mind up of this is what I want to do, and the more somebody tells me you can't do it, I do it. So yeah, this is this dream the trip I want to do. Lo and behold, this trip, the opportunity to actually do this trip came up earlier than expected. Or the belief that I could do it earlier came up earlier than expected. Company I worked for, we were advised that we were going to be made redundant, and so didn't know when we were going to be made redundant. My job at that time was in payroll. My part of my job was actually working with redundancy packages. So I calculated my own redundancy package, which is what everybody else, well, not everybody in the team, not everybody in that section did, because not everybody knew how to do a redundancy. But yeah, so calculated redundancy and worked out, what I'd get, what I could afford to spend on a holiday, and use that. So there we go. I had the plan of that I was going to go to there. I was going to have the time, and I was going to have the funds. So yep, good-o. From there, took a while for us to actually get a date that we were being made redundant, and in that time I had planned my whole holiday. Now, when you get facing redundancy, it's a horrible thing. Absolutely horrible, because you everything you do goes on pause. Things you wanted to do, they get paused because you can't do so much when you know you're going to be made redundant. It's a case of things that you plan to do. One of the things I want to do was, a house. That went out the window. Yeah. So yeah, you just put things on hold until after the redundancy, because once you're redundant, you've got all the time in the world to do stuff, and then you go looking for a job. I was fortunate, however, because the company I worked for, I was actually able to get, oops, that didn't stay. I was able to, oh, come on, get in there. Oh, that's why it won't get in there, it's because there's too many. So I'll put it on that one. I actually managed to stay. So this Egypt trip was a few years in planning. Quite a few years in planning, from the first idea to when it actually happened. And I finally got to go. Managed to stay at the company I was with, but yeah, I finally got to go. So I booked this trip via Ask Aladdin, researched other places within Egypt to do, had those added on to the package, because as a group like that, as a tour like that, you have to, obviously I was dealing with a tour company, but they were only dealing with that section of my trip. So I had extra places I wanted to go and see and visit while I was over there with the thing that where you travel a long distance, travel an absolutely long distance from Australia to get to some of these places. So do everything you possibly can, because highly likely you won't be going back to that country or that area again, because there's so much more to see of the world. So yeah, I extended the trip out by adding extra things to do, and ended up with a package that was 16 days, 5-star deluxe, solo. Now what I mean solo is the company worked out single rate, which was only like 600 extra US dollars on top. Excuse me. Oh, my nose is tickling. To go solo. The choice was 5-star or 5-star deluxe, so I went 5-star deluxe because, if you want to go on holidays, you got to do it properly. So yeah, got the package all organised, got the dates selected. Still was working with the company that I was going to be made redundant with. Every time I mentioned going to Egypt, I was asking if Nathan, my partner, wanted to go, and every time, no. So 5-star deluxe single meant that wherever I went, I had my own guide, whether it was just somebody escorting me or an Egyptologist that was taking me around to places to see. It also meant my own vehicle. That vehicle was a 12-seater bus, so I had lots of room to myself. But you have your own vehicle, which when you have own guide, own vehicle, getting around was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, here comes another yawn. Sorry. I'm just using my 3-placer, or I'm using my multi-placers depending on the size of the area that I'm working on. So with that, I ended up getting this lovely fun holiday. It was Egypt trip it was Cairo, around Cairo for a few days, then down to Aswan, and a flight from Aswan to Abu Simbel, and then back to Aswan, and I hopped on a Nile cruise ship 4 days, going from Aswan to Luxor, which was, and then from Luxor bus across to Hurghada, where I had a couple of days free time, and then from Hurghada, Cairo and Alexandria, and then back to Cairo and home. So it was a full-on trip. In that time, Hurghada was free time, so that was where I could do absolutely anything and everything I wanted to. So this trip, I had an uneventful trip from Perth to Cairo, 2 flights. First flight 11 hours, long trip, because that was to Dubai, and then 4.5 hour flight from Dubai to Cairo, which after 11-hour flight, that 4.5 hour flight was so easy to do. Flew with Emirates, and on the 11-hour long legs, both of those legs I had, come on, that's not straight, that's not right. I had empty seat beside me, which is great. Stretch out room, Okay. Yeah. So got to Cairo. One of the things, I suffer a little bit of anxiety at times. Well, a lot of anxiety at times too. Met this short guy, and I will say short guy. I am only 5'3", 158 centimeters thereabout, depending, and taller if I'm in better shoes. Oh no! Look at that! Look at that! Let's pull those off. Okay. And Mr. Oh, I can't remember his name. It's on the website. It will come to me eventually. So he's come in and met me at the bottom. Before you go in, get your visas and go through security and all of that. The great thing this company, and I think a lot of the companies did, was they take you through the smooth process of entering the country. Because you don't get your visas. Some places you go to, you have to get your visa before you get there. This one, you get your visa when you arrive. Visa into Egypt, $25. Okay. So he's put out his hand and gone, not explaining it. Oh, give me $25. And my first order is, oh shit, am I going to be handing out cash left, right and centre to these guys for everything that I part of my trip? And then it was like, oh, that's right, visa, I forgot about that. So I pulled out, gave it to him, and off he trots with my money. I just stand there. Mind, there was a lot of people just standing there where guides have gone across and done this for their groups. Oh, look at how crooked that is. God, clever. So yeah, everywhere, going around, everywhere I went to even airport, more so than other places, you know, security with their massive guns. You know, I live in Australia. We have such stringent gun controls that you don't really notice any security. Well, you do have some security at the airports. Well, we have a fair bit of security at the airports, but you don't see guns. That's when I travel overseas. It's just something I find. Yeah, guns are there. I accept it, but I still don't like seeing them. It's a great country that you live in when your guns are. There's such tight restrictions, and you don't feel like there's no right to bear arms, no right to have a gun, because if nobody has a gun, you're a lot safer. I know they say guns don't kill people, people kill people. But if you don't have a gun, you've got to find a different way to do it, which is a lot harder to kill someone. But enough on that subject. That's kind of political. Should stay away from that stuff. Not good. So, yeah, he's gone off and got my visa. And I'm just looking at these guards around the place. Not liking guns. I've started to get a little bit anxious. When I get anxious, I turn into, without being too rude, a human vibrator. I start shaking because it just, yeah, anxiety. Those of us that diamond paint and have issues, you understand anxiety. You just can't control it. So yeah, gone through, I think 2 different checkpoints before we got to Carousel to get my bags. Guides turn around and go, and what does your bag look like? And because of the way I had my stuff, my carry-on luggage looked exactly like my suitcase, so I went, looks like this but bigger. Yep. So I stood at the carousel and out come the bags, and see my bag, and he looks at it and he goes, is this your bag? And I've gone, yep. And I've gone to get it, and he's got, no. So he's gotten it off. Fair amount of weight on it, and he's a little guy, so he had a bit of a struggle getting it off. He was shorter than me, so he was struggling to get it off the carousel, but he got it off. And then he grabbed my carry-on luggage and he wheeled it, which, you know, was wonderful. You know, I didn't worry about my bags. He was carrying it. I was, you know, trusting someone I hadn't met, but I knew his name, which I can't recall now, and, you know, all of that. So wheeled that away and he's gone with it, and I've just followed, holding on to basically my bag with my passport in it, my over-the-shoulder bag, which, you know, the essential look after this is your stuff that you just don't let anyone else touch. Gotten out the first lot of doors, and oh my goodness, you see the crowds on the other side of the street. This is just not right. That one. Sorry. There we go. Crowd on the other side of the street, all barricaded off, and the only vehicles that can go at the front of the airport are taxis and tour vehicles. So yeah, you get out, get in the car, get in this bus. You know, I was actually expecting a normal car, but it was a bus. They need to have it, and they need to have a tour bus that says it's a tour to get around into a lot of places. Whereas private vehicles get looked at, scrutinised a lot more severely. Arrived on a Friday, so majority of Muslim country. Fridays over there are actually their part of their weekend. So everything was pretty quiet, not many crowds, and I will say the roads were really, really empty, which was a surprise to me. Yeah, it's like, you know, Cairo's a big city, it's pretty empty. Driving along though, got taught a few phrases that were handy. The only one I remember is shukran, and I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Thank you, which is, you use it as a thank you or a no thank you, the same thing, means exactly the same thing. Yeah, thanks for the offer, not happy, don't want it type thing. And we got to where there was, you know, a few more vehicles on the road and got a bit crowded, and I ended up swearing. And my guide and my driver have just both laughed, and I went, no, this is nuts, because the traffic we were in had actually built up. So they had a bit of chuckle because, you know, my reaction. And then, you know, my guides turned around and given me the details on Cairo. And, you know, Cairo, population of Cairo, 23 million, 22 million, 23 million, somewhere out thereabouts. And my response to that was, there's only 2 million more people in Australia itself. So density of Cairo was an eye-opener. Yeah. And the size of it. So yeah, driven around, taken straight to where I was staying, Mina House. And, you know, my guide that was there, he just pointed out the pyramids, and I've just gone, wow, you know, they're huge. But as we were driving along close to the hotel, these pyramids were getting closer and closer and closer. And I knew that you could book, your rooms could be pyramid view. I didn't realise how close this place I was staying at was to the pyramids. If I was energetic enough, I could have walked to the pyramids. They were that close. But now I'm on holidays. I'm not walking, not that far. I'll walk while I'm on a tour. So yeah, gone in and just been told, wait, got out the vehicle, everything taken out of the vehicle for me. And just told, went into the foyer. So everything's got to go through security gates, security screening. entering into the area, this place is just all fenced off. Security guards there, and they come around with sniffer dogs and mirrors, and looking at what's under the vehicle. And it's like, oh, what's that? What are they looking for? Bombs. It's like, oh, okay, rightio. Yep. Got to expect that in some of these countries. No, it's still a surprise. Freedoms that we've got in Australia was just phenomenal in comparison. So yeah, get into the lobby, and my guide turns around and says, just wait here. So I stood there and waited, and he's gone up to the counter, done all the checking in for me, and then signalled for me to come up to the desk. And he got the card and handed me the card directly in front of the concierge or whoever it was that checked me in there. And he has given me everything. I've got everything I need, and took me back outside to one of the guys out the front, and then luggage was put on a cart, and went on a cart to my room, to the section. God, this is long. This is just getting into the car, into Egypt. Oh well. I'm waffling, so So yeah, so gotten in. So you go through security to get into the lobby, and then you've got to go through another lot of security to get to your rooms. So yeah, picked up, my bag's gone through screening again. I suppose you can never be too overcautious in some places. And taken to my room. And I live in a country where you don't do tipping. And one of the things I hear about Australians is bad tippers. In Australia, they're bad tippers. People from Australia are bad tippers. It's because we don't know how to tip. So, yep. The guy that brought my bags in, brought my things, and it brought my bags in, and he stood there, and it's like, oh, yep, I got a tip. Got to remember to tip. Gave him a tip, and his reaction was, yeah. He started calling me an Egyptian princess. I think I overtipped. I think all of Egypt I overtipped. I'm just going to flatten these to make sure there we go. I've gotten into my room, and I'd actually requested pyramid view, and I've got my room, and it wasn't pyramid view, so I was a bit disappointed at that. Room was lovely, big, massive. The view was still beautiful, beautiful view of the gardens. King size bed, everything you'd expect in something like that. So yeah, gotten there and not even unpacked. First thing I do was get onto Messenger and call Nathan, and noticing time difference. I think it's about 7-hour difference. So I've called him up, and he was at his friend's place. He was at these guys in the picture. He was at their place, and so we video messaged and showed them my room, my view, all on video message, and it was surreal. So talking to people back home in a location like that was really surreal. So showed them took them around, showed them my room, rah-de-rah, all the exciting things you do, and then got off that and unpacked, and then went, okay, I'm not sleeping. There's no way am I sleeping. So I've just done 24 hours travel, and it's like, no, I'm not going to sleep. If I go to sleep, I'm done, because that night I was scheduled to go to see the light show. So the light show is of the pyramids, on the pyramids, and you get a history bit, you get told about Egypt. So yeah, went and had dinner though before we went out. I had dinner. Which my fussy stomach is like, I can't eat that. Maybe it's my fussy head. There was food foods that I just couldn't eat, or I don't eat. And I looked at this menu, and 75% of this menu was food that I didn't like in some way or another. I found one thing though was a curry, Jenga curry. It was prawns. Oh my gosh, that was yummy. So yeah, had dinner and taken to this light show, which was pretty cool, really cool. So if you actually look at my website on the Egypt section, day one, I actually have pictures of some of the pictures of the night show. So yeah, that was good. I went back to my room. Didn't go back to my room directly. I turned around and said to my guide, I need to get Coke. Egypt is Pepsi. No Coke in my room. It was straight out Pepsi. So yeah, I said to my guide, I said, I've got to get Coke. And you've got cola in your room. No, I need Coke. There's a difference between Coke and Pepsi, and everybody, those people that are Pepsi only and those people that are Coke only, there is a big difference. Some people that don't drink much in the way of cola don't notice any difference. Yes, I'm fussy. Okie dokie. And now for the filling in. So yeah, we stopped, and he just, night time, I went to get out and he went, nope, stay in. So I stayed in the vehicle while he went in and got me a few bottles of Coke. I think from that point on they had a good joke with me because they had to stop for Coke. My driver learnt how much I drink Coke on that trip. Oh gosh, I can't get this to line up. Good. There we go, that's better. So, got my Coke and then gone back to my room and happily chilled out and what I did, I got back to my room and I chilled out, and my chilling out was actually putting pictures onto my website and do my little, it's not a blog, but do my commentary of the day. When I was dropped off, I was told that I wouldn't have, I still can't remember his name. I was told that I would have a different guide. And so I got up in the morning, had breakfast. Disappointed, no bacon. I love my bacon and eggs when I'm travelling. I don't have much in the way of breakfast at home, but when I'm travelling, I like my breakfast. No bacon. Muslim country. Bacon is not bacon. Bacon is beef bacon. So yeah. It's like, okay, great. But yeah, met my guide, and so he wasn't actually Mr. I still can't get it. Can't remember his name. The guy that picked me up from the airport wasn't actually a guide. He was a company representative. So my guide, Magid, Egyptologist, same age as me. He'd been an Egyptologist for more than 20 years. And oh my goodness, proud of his country. Very proud of his country and the history and everything. And he was so full of information that a large portion of it went over my head because he spoke faster. I'm an Australian, we speak slower in Australia. He spoke faster and I missed a lot and I zoned out. And looking back, halfway through my trip, it was like, oh God, I wish I'd listened. So yeah. So I met him, and first visit was, well, we went to the very first pyramids, Sakura, something like that. The very first pyramids built. Normally part of seeing Egypt is you go to the big pyramids in the morning, and then in the heat of the day you do other stuff. But massive fog over Cairo. Couldn't even see the pyramids from where I was staying. So we'll go to this, we'll turn the trip around, we'll go where we were going to go in the afternoon, we'll go there in the morning, because it was a cooler day and there's no point going to the pyramids when you can't see much in the distance and really appreciate what's there. So yeah, so we went to these first lot of pyramids, first ones ever built, taken around, and it is amazing. Sorry, I'm getting pop-ups from YouTube saying someone's uploaded something. So yeah, I'll leave that alone. I love my comments on YouTube. Really appreciate my comments. Lets me know how I'm going. So yeah, these first pyramids built, taken around, having a look, gotten up on top of a hill or a mound or something, and I've looked around and gone, oh look, that looks like I haven't said it, but I've gone, oh, that's about the shape of pyramid. I suppose everywhere you look they'll say that's a pyramid. And Megan turns around and said, well, that's a pyramid, that's one there. One of the wives, one of the pharaoh's wives. Oh yeah, it was pretty cool to go around and have a look at. Got to some of the tombs that were for lesser people in Egypt, so not pharaohs, but people of prominence that had special places with the pharaohs. Oh gosh, it's too far away from me. I'm not placing these properly. And Megan's turned around and gone, no photos inside. No photos. They don't let you take photos. There's signs there saying no photos. He said, but if you give them some money, they'll let you take photos. So yeah, no photos inside, but if you hand out funds, yeah, you can take photos. That was all over Egypt. That was their economy. That's how the guides share their wealth. The guides don't take you in. Guides don't take you into a lot of places. It's locals that do take you into some of those places. So hand out some cash, and he's like, hand out cash to the guy that took me in, and oh gosh, upside down. Gotta love it when they go in upside down. So yeah, it's got to take some photos around the place. So what I gave the guide in the tombs. He had a big smile when I gave him some funds. Yet again, need to learn the value of some of the money in. That's actually wrong colour. Got another stray there. Need to learn the value of some of the funds and the earnings that people have. Because I'd say yet again, $2 tipped too much. I think my whole holiday I tipped too much. So yeah. Oh, gotta have coffee. Oh gosh, coffee's half cold, and I'm only a little way down my cup. Geez, I love to rub it on, don't I? And so went in, got some really cool photos. Some of them are on my website. Picking out some of the good ones that I liked. So yeah, we went there, and then once we'd gone into that area, we went down to take them back into Cairo itself, and stopped at a Egypt, then known for the Egyptian rugs they do and mats and that. So we're taken in there, and you get explained the building, how it's done, and they call it a school. So this is where people learn to make the mats, so that then when they go back to wherever the kids go to, wherever they come from, they've got a skill where they can sell stuff from there, where they the areas that they are in. So yeah, which is good. But you go in there and there's all these different types. Go get that up. All these different types of mats. Move around. There's lots of gaps in there, but they are all good. Once it's up and framed, you won't see that. So yeah, you get explained everything, shown how they make them, how they make the different ones, from cotton to silk. Oh gosh, they were amazing. Halfway through the shush, he's out to investigate what's going on, probably the postie. So yeah, part of Egypt culture when you're taken somewhere is you get tea, and different teas, all different teas, hibiscus tea, I took a couple of mouthfuls and went, no, I can't drink that tea. So I walked around with this tea in my hand, not able to drink it, nowhere to put it down. I suppose if I'd actually motioned for somebody would have come and taken it out of my hands. And then when it got to the point where I was actually left alone to look, the idea is they leave you alone to look so that you can purchase. Once I got to that stage, somebody came and took my cup out of my hand so that I could look properly and not spill. I'm a klutz. That was a good move. So yeah, got down these mats. I was feeling these mats going, oh gosh, I want one. I'd love to take this one home. They take care of all the shipping just as well. And these mats were gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I found some designs that I liked. I just managed to build my house, so I was looking at mats to go in the house. But however, the price, they are handmade. You can understand that they're very expensive. But the price was way too out of my reach. And then as soon as I realised how expensive they were, it's like, okay, I can't buy. I'm not going to stand here looking at rugs, more floor mats, more rugs, mats, because I'm just going to not quite cry, but I'm disappointed that I can't afford to buy one. And you see these guys just, you want to try and help out the economy, which is one of the things I do well when I go away. But yeah, I couldn't afford to buy any of their mats, not even little ones. First day of a holiday, you budgeted for your days, so you can't blow your budget on day one. So yeah. Next, then it was lunch was provided, and lunch shouldn't have been provided. It was horrible. Horrible because it was foods I don't like. So what was I left with that I could eat, that I recognised, was salad. So I had salad for lunch, and Maggot has turned around and said to me, "Oh, you're not eating any of the other stuff." And I've gone, "I can't eat it. I just can't eat it. I don't like it. I can't eat it." Okay, so yeah, he's taken that on board, which I didn't expect. It was really surprising, because the next day was when I realised how much they actually do listen to you and look after you. So yeah, we've had lunch, sourced a Coke from another shop because Pepsi was the only thing available there. Pepsi and other normal drinks, which I don't tend to drink anyway. So yeah, from there we then went, and I recognised where we were going. It's really funny. When I travel, I recognise something. If I go some path, I recognise. If I go there a second time, I recognise it. So I'd recognise this thing. You're going, "Oh, we're going back to the room," and he goes, "No, we're going to the pyramids." And it's like, okay, well, back to my hotel. The pyramids are right there. So I definitely knew where I was. Had my bearings of where I was, which is fantastic. Come on. So yeah, gone up to the pyramids, and oh my gosh, wow, huge, absolutely huge. And the comments that people make of about how the pyramids are made, and I've just looked at it gone, aliens. They were so big. The imagination of someone being able to, oh gosh. Nope. Better not be door knockers. I don't deal with door knockers. I've lost my sticky. More wax. So yeah, they are huge. Absolutely massive. Yeah, really, 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 really big. So Megan's taken me right through a lot of stuff about the pyramids. It was at this point that it was at the pyramids that I realised how proud of his country he was. The passion that came out in comparison to the first lot of places. He had passion, but this was just amazing. He's not happy about something. I put my bow. He's not happy about something. So yeah, we've taken up to the pyramids, gone up to the. Megan's turned around and said, "You can go in." I had purchased the package where I had got the package where I was able to go inside the pyramid itself, and he turned around and he said, "Well, I need to take your bags. I need to hold your bags. You can't take them in there with you. There's no photos, and you can't even give money to take photos." So climbed up, gone up and in. Oh, what's going on, mate? Sorry, my dog's going off. Oh. I've got to go and investigate, so I'm going to have to stop here. And try and remember the fact that I was at the pyramid, going up to the pyramid. But I'll be back shortly. Okay, back again. It was just somebody in a car out the front, picking up someone from next door. If somebody parks on the curb out the front of our house, we know about it. Not normally that loud though. Okay, so gone up, taken up into the pyramids, gone up the stairs, into the entrance, and the guides there making sure you don't have cameras. So it's like, okay, if I had a camera on me, I would have had to have left it there at the entrance, which gratefully I didn't have it, because I've got my bags with somebody that can safely look after it, who I trust can look after it. And I do mean bags. He had all of my bags. He even had, Meg had even held on to my passport bag, my bag that had my passport. Because you just can't take anything in. Which, yeah. When you go inside the pyramids, you understand why they take, why you don't take anything in. The degree that you have to go up to get inside and up to where you go to was pretty severe. I felt, I'm not claustrophobic at all. And I felt the weight, I almost feel the weight of the pyramids going, oh heck, if this collapse, there's no getting out of here. And then it's like, well, they've stood for thousands of years. They'll stand still. They'll be standing. I'm okay, So I can imagine what somebody that suffers claustrophobia goes through. I had a minor bit going, oh, if the walls collapsed, I'm screwed. So yeah, it was just, I got probably about a third up. I didn't know I was a third up, but probably about a third up. And I've got the sweats, and it's like, oh my God, I can't go up. I can't go any further. And I played the good old mind battle of, I can't do this, and yes you can, and no you can't, yes you can. I still kept climbing because I had so many people behind me, so I still kept going up. I was ready to turn back, and then the good part of my brain kicked in going, you are here, you're not coming back. Get your ass up there. That was basically the conversation in my head. So, yep, I kept going up. I got up there. Some very tight squeezes to get in. Sections where you can only get one person through at a time. So when you've got a big group of people, they all want to get past you first before they let you up. So yeah, it was a very tight squeeze in some places. You still had shoulder room, but I suppose there were some bits where you just had to stop and let others go around. I think I gave way to more people than people give way to me, and all I can say is rude bloody tourists. I was a tourist myself, but no, I respected those. If you were in a rush, you want to get through one. I never took up extra space and stopped people. So yeah, I've gotten up there, and it's just this big square room with a sarcophagus in it, and I've just looked at it, and it's like, okay, is that all this is? How bad is that? Is that all there is? I was expecting something more, but no, there wasn't. There was nothing in there. Just a big square room with a box with a sarcophagus. And then you look at the size of the room and you think, okay, there was stuff that was with this pharaoh, and I mean stuff as in goods that he was going to take to the afterworld with him. So the room was a fair size, and at that point, and after coming all the way up, because it was I don't know what the angle was, but it was a huge angle to go up, huge angle to go down too. It was a bit scary going down. But when you get in there and you see the size of the room that's there, and you actually think about it, there was lots of goods in there, and these have all been stuff in there has been raided, so there's nothing in there. It was a pyramid where people get into, so stuff was raided. There was no stuff there. And then you look there and you go, how the hell did they take stuff out? I think I've got room in there now. I did have my 310s in. I had so many 310s that I had 2.5 of these filled plus one of these. I'm now used so many 310s that I can get them down. No, I won't. I'm not going to try and squeeze it in. I will put what's left over. There's my label, my easy label. Just a tag, cut off. So yeah, you appreciate how much work goes into Still Think Aliens build them. Tongue in cheek, huge. But yeah, so I was, yeah, in saying that, I was in this room where there was little to no room. Hang on, just out come the baby wipes. I'm actually got to clean some of that gunk off that tray. If I can lift this up. No, there was that some of that side. It's one thing about doing massive, lots of. Oh God, that was clever. Straight on this drill field. Okay, so yeah, while standing in that room, I've realised there is not much air. Not much air at all. And I'm just contemplating my next colour. Normally I'd go work my way down and use whatever colour is next down on that line. Oops. Okay, I've got a loose drill. I've actually invested in a magnifying glass. So where is it? Oh, there's a gap there, so I'll just pull that up and that'll slot in better. Sorry, well, we all know there's tricky bits where we're in here where we're like going, oh, I've got to get that in. It's just, I think that's actually one that I don't want in there. Now, well, when I'm doing it, when I go down the track, when I do my final touch-ups, when I put it before I frame it, I'll find it and resolve it if I have to. Okay. So yeah, while I'm up in this big square room with 50 people at least in there, I've got there and gone, there's not much fresh air in this space. How long has some of this air been sitting there stale? So yeah, that was an interesting situation to be in. It's like, oh God. And yeah, you think there, if somebody was travelling and had been unwell, you know, they're going to be passing on their germs. So I'm not a germaphobe, but still, you know, you get there and you do think these things. So yeah, that's quite an interesting process to go through, realising, you know, there's not much air, not much fresh air at all in there. Okay. Okay. I did initially use tweezers. This is such a big one, and because this is a Christmas one that I need to get done, I'm using multi-places as much as possible. So yeah, got out of there, and when I finally got out of the inside of there, oh my goodness, the air seemed so fresh. The air was really nice. The air actually officially wasn't too bad, but you know, you're in a big area like that, the air's not that fresh. But after being in the pyramid, the air was fresh. So you're taken around the pyramid, walked around the pyramid to take into one of their solar boats. So they call them solar boats. Why they call them solar boats? These are put with the pharaohs so that they could travel on these boats to the afterlife, towards the sun, which is pretty cool. But what was even more cool is these boats were not built with hammered nails. There was no nails. What keeps these boats together is ropes. the boats were actually buried in, they were put away in pieces, not as solid pieces, not built. They were packaged up in boxes. And yeah, somebody has had to, someone spent, I don't know whether it was decades or something like that, trying to work out and studying how to reconstruct these solar boats so that we could see them. And it was huge, and to imagine a boat being built without the stuff that we have now, you know, the nails, screws, caulking. I spent some time in the fishing industry, so I understand a bit about boats. Not much, but a bit. So to that, yeah, I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed. Could not take photos, could not bribe to take photos. There was actually lockers where you were given a key, you put your camera and all your bags in there, and before you could go in. You also had to take your shoes off to go in there. So shoes off, it was either shoes off or you had special things to go over your shoe. I took my shoes off and put these special things over my socks. I was actually wearing, I think I had socks on. No, I didn't. Just straight over my foot. I didn't even think of toe jam until just then. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, gone in and walked around, and Maggot was able to come in with me and talk me right through. Wow, amazing. So yeah, we've gone in there, we've had a look, wandered around. It was, yeah, yet again, still say it, amazing. Come out, and then we've gone for another further walk. So, and got to around the other side of the pyramid where the solar boats was, walked away from that, and then we had a little bit of a walk. My driver picked us up, and we went up higher, a little bit higher up the hill. And I think in my web page, hang on, I'm just going to have a look. On my web page, Cairo, nope, no picture of me. There's not even a picture of me in there. I've got a picture. My guide went, you have to have a picture. You come here, you have to have a picture with pyramids in the background. I don't like pictures. I don't of me. I carry a nice camera so that then I am behind the lens, not in front of the lens. So yeah, okay. I gave up, and he took a photo. I've got the pyramids in the background behind me. So that picture that if you actually have a look at my website and on the page that's Egypt, Cairo, day 2 Cairo, you see my main picture there is actually the pyramids. So I've got a picture where I am in that picture in front of it. So it's pretty cool. I did put it on my Facebook page. So yeah. From there it was back to the hotel, which was, you know, it took longer to get out of the area where the pyramids were than it was to go from the entrance to the pyramids to where I was staying. It was that close. So yeah, back we went to the hotel. Just chillaxed there. I updated my photos. My initial plan was I might go and have a swim. Got back to my room, it's like, oh no, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. So I rang the other half up, I think, and I gave him a call on Messenger and told him about my day. You know, still able to share the experience in some way. So yeah, day finished off eventful. I went back to the restaurant at the hotel and still found nothing appetizing on the menu, so I had Jenga curry again. Had my dinner, gone home, hang on, I'm just trying to see. I'm actually going to my website so I can see if I put specific pictures up. Okay, no. Okay, so I've gone and back to my room, and the next day I was flying out that next day. I was doing a tour but then flying out that night. So yeah, I've turned around and done my website up, added my pictures and a little bit of commentary. Not much commentary for the day. I was just exhausted. I'd seen that much. Couldn't absorb a lot. And then once I'd done that, I packed my bags. There was something else. I missed a bit. While I was in Cairo, I can't remember whether it was day 1 or day 2. No, it was day 2. Megan said, "Oh, there's what else do you want to see?" Because we had a bit of free time. What else do you want to see? And he listed off these things, and one of them was an Egyptian shop that sells, the Egyptian cotton. So it sells, so I was taken to an Egyptian cotton store, which was really, really nice, and it was like, okay, I love my what they call the Egyptian bath towels. So I thought, well, I will buy some Egyptian bath towels from Egypt. So yeah, we went in and I ended up with 6 bath sheets. If you've got bath sheets, even bath towels, but bath sheets, they take up a lot of room. And I've walked out and gone, oh shit, how am I going to fit these in the suitcase? But it doesn't matter. I did say it to Megan that I said, what do I do? I'm going to have to carry these all around the rest of my tour. And this turned around and said, no, you can actually leave it with the lobby. They have storage, and because your last night you come back here, you can pick it up before you fly out. It's like, oh well, that was handy. So yeah, but yeah, so that was where when I packed my bags, I was like, oh, thank God I didn't have those towels, because that was just going to be so much excess baggage to carry around. So yeah, packed my bags, and in the morning had breakfast. Yet again, no bacon. Still disappointed, no bacon. Yeah, so the next day was, Megan picked me up, got my bags out of my room, and then I went and had breakfast, and then when I went back to my room, did the essential, brush the teeth, get ready to go, make sure everything's packed, make sure there's nothing left behind in the room, and just did that, and then packed up, took my suitcase up, and waited out in the lobby for Megan to come. So yeah, that was that day was next day. That day 3 was full on. So day 3 started with me getting out of bed at 6 in the morning and didn't finish till I climbed into bed like 6 o'clock the following morning. So it was a big day. I was taken to the Egyptian Museum, which was, if you don't have your bearings, people can call, I've spoken to people since that have been there and gone, oh, it was a rabbit warren, they struggled to get around. I was able to get my bearings pretty quickly, so I could have walked right around that museum a couple of times and not gotten lost, so which was good. But yeah, so gone into the museum, lined up with the crowds. We were there at opening, but we still lined up with crowds, massive crowds, and it was pretty cool, really cool. There was some stuff that was absolutely amazing to see. The tour guides themselves, what can I say about them? The tour guides themselves are so respectful, and I don't just mean
you know, hello, how are you? Yeah, I will hop out of your way. You know, there's a difference with the tour guides, and they're very respectful. To the degree as a solo traveller, when you reach a section to look at, normally there's massive, these big tour groups, 20 people in a group trying to cram around something, looking at something, and the guide's giving them all this information. Well, I'm trying to find my other tweezers. Where's my bent tweezers? They were here last night when I went to bed. No, okay. I'm back to using tweezers now because I'm doing individual placements. So yeah, we've turned around, and what happens is Megan, my guide, would go to the other guide, just give him a tap to let him know. Because what you do is, as a single, you stand back, and Megan would explain all about what we're looking at. And the first time we did this, I'm there going, well, I can't bloody well see what you're telling me about. Well, I'm thinking it anyway. I'm not telling him, I'm just thinking it. I have a lot of thoughts. So yeah, turn around. And he's explained this sarcophagus there and rah-de-rah, and then next thing you know, he taps the guide on the shoulder. This other guide that had this massive group blocking the way, and this guide has just turned around and looked at his group and got his hand and waved them to the side. I've gone straight in, nobody in my way, and I was able to have a good look, take pictures, and then back away. And when I backed away, I've actually looked at the guide, given him a nod to say thank you, and then the guides then signalled for his group to come back. As a solo traveller, to have it where guides respect other guides and don't hog displays was, oh my gosh, amazing. You know, when you're in a big group, you see the big group, they get around and they have to shuffle around each other. On the tours they get to know each other, but you still have to shuffle around each other to see stuff. You've always got someone that will hog the front section, so it just makes it a bit uncomfortable. But as a single solo traveller, they move aside. So if you were actually travelling as a just two people, they would still might move aside because it's a smaller group. So yeah, there's a lot of respect for that, and it's also a proudness of the guides. The guides are so proud that they want people to see, they want everybody to see and experience as much as they can of Egypt. So yeah, got taken around and shown some pretty cool stuff, including Tutankhamun's all his paraphernalia. There is a room that you go into, and I get to the outside of the room, and Magid, this is where I learnt. Magid turned it and explained to me, there is no guides in there. We are not allowed to go in. This allows you the ability to look without us distracting you. It also means that the room is quieter because there's no guides talking, and it's just small groups of people going in. So you got to go in there and have a look at all the gold, the coins, but also his mask, Tutankhamun's mask. Yeah, wow. So you're really, really, really amazed at that. And then you come out of that room and you look at this. Whoops, that's gone flying. The sarcophagus that was that he was in. And then if you actually look at day 3, the first picture you see is alabaster and these figurines facing each other. Those are the figurines that actually his organs were placed into. So that's what they are. Alabaster jars that held his organs. So yeah, they was not very big at all. Now, that picture that I've got on my website is pretty big. Is beefed up. I've zoomed in But stunning to see. So yeah, I've got to see quite a lot in the museum. I've taken right around, and then we've got to a room with where the mummies are, and Megan's gone, okay, this is your time now. He said, you go into the mummies, go have a look in there, and then wander around the museum, have a look at anything else you want to see, anything you want to go back to and take pictures of. Go back and do that, and I'll be waiting such and such a location. It's like, yep, well, I have a bearing, so I knew exactly where he was going to be waiting for me. So yeah, I've gone into this room with mummies, all these mummies, and if you can imagine what it's like to be in awe of something yet horrified, to try and explain it, it's really weird for me to explain it. You're standing there, you're looking at, so the horrifying thing is you're standing there, you're looking at dead bodies. It's like, this is a dead body, and that was one thing that horrified me. But the other side of it, I was absolutely amazed that these were people that died 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago, and they are so preserved. The amazement of how, by their process of preserving these mummies, or these people they were, was so amazing that it just goes beyond belief that they can remain intact. So yeah, in these, that the guides were the mummies had their faces revealed, so you could see their faces. Whoops. So it's an amazement, absolute amazement. But it's these people were living. You're looking at dead people. But yeah. So I was flipping between all their dead people to, oh wow, how can you understand something so well? So all those millennia ago, it's just that process. To understand that. One thing I did notice also was their heads. So when you go around the museum, I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this chat. I don't know how long I've been talking for, but probably about nearly 2 hours. When you go around the museum, you see these, what they call their headrests for when they're in bed. And the headrests are actually raised, so they're raised and then they come out. And so they rest their heads on them. That's their pillows, not pillows like we get now, but that's what they put their heads on. Well, when you look at the mummies, the shape of their heads was different to our heads now. They're more elongated. So it actually made sense. When I was initially looking at them, and it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. That'd be a horrible way to sleep. Well, it actually made sense once you actually saw the mummies' heads. So yeah, that's Cairo Museum. From where did I go after Cairo Museum? Oh, that's where I went. After the Cairo Museum, we went into a store where they have gold. They sell gold jewellery. Oh wow, that was gorgeous to see. I did want to buy a cartouche, I think they were called, for my boys, which has their names in hieroglyphics. However, they shouldn't take you to these stores when you're at the beginning of a holiday, because you're budgeting, and it's like, I'd love to buy it, but I'm on a tight budget. If I had money left over at the end of a tour, I would have liked to have gone back in there, but that's a totally different matter. Yeah, very expensive. It's real gold, it's not fake gold, not mass manufactured. You would get it made, and it would be delivered at the end of the tour. I was told that at the end of the tour, on my last day, what would happen is it would be delivered to me then. They would make it and deliver it to me then, to where I was staying. But yeah, start of the tour, couldn't afford it. End of the tour, if I wanted it, I'd have to wait in Egypt longer to get it made. So from there we went to religious places. Where did that go? There we go. The first place we went to was the Citadel. And so it's the Citadel that had the mosque, and I'd never been in a mosque before. You had to take your shoes off, which was no issue. I travelled around Egypt with a scarf in my bag just in case, because I respect other people's religions. So I had a scarf in my bag, and I've said to Megan, do I need to cover my head like, most? And he said, no, you could go in and not cover it up. I was like, okay. Yes, people were covered up. My guessing on that would be Muslims themselves do cover their heads when they go in there. Huge. So Megan's explained to me all about the religion, very passionately. And I won't go into that, because one of the things, I respect people's beliefs and their religions, and I have my own beliefs. I respect it to the degree where Megan's turned around and gone, you can take pictures. And I took a couple of pictures, and I felt uncomfortable taking pictures. This is a place of people's worship, and out of respect, I wasn't comfortable taking pictures. I was in awe of their ceiling, so I did take picture of the ceiling. But you will see that there is no pictures of the inside of any churches. I just don't do, shouldn't say churches, any religious places like that. He's taken me around, explained a lot about the religion. I won't go into that. If you want to know about the religions, you go have you look up yourself. I was just amazed at the belief system. So from the Citadel, we then went to the Hanging Church. So you think hanging, it's going to be hanging from the roof, hanging from something up high. The Hanging Church is because of how it's built. And it's only just on top of a couple of very small pillars or something like that. So it's classed as hanging. It's not really touching the ground. Megan's taking me in there, and this church, it's no photos. Put your camera away. Make sure your phone is in your bag. You can't take photos. And I turned around and said, well, I don't like taking photos inside churches anyway. So he's come in, and we've gone in, and he has given me so much information about the church. And with that information, there was a lot more passion in there. So and then we've come out, and there was a Greek Orthodox church. So the church was was it Coptic? Oh, it was the Egyptian Catholic Church, Christian Catholic Church, or whatever. We've come out of the Hanging Church and then gone into the Greek Orthodox Church, which was walking distance from there, and then taken to all these places where Jesus was as a baby. When the places they hid him, where they hid him. So that's quite interesting. Once we've come out of seeing all these churches, I even got taken into a small little synagogue. Yet again, no photos of inside. Won't do it. Not worth it. It's people's beliefs. It's sacred to different people. So yeah, after we've come out of all these different religious places, I've turned around and said to him, the hanging church, that's your church, isn't it? And he's gone, yes, how could you tell? And I said, well, you were passionate about all the churches, but this one, your passion was just more there. And he's like, yeah, that is his church. So his passion for all the religions was really good, where I couldn't tell. It wasn't until, I suppose you could only just slightly tell that was his church, because he respected all the other religions, which was good. He didn't drop his passion on any of the different religions, probably would be the better way to say it. Because of the way his beliefs were, that didn't matter. He still spoke passionate about all the churches, all the religions, which is a sign of he's got a sign that shows he's got respect of other cultures, which is really good to see. So yeah, from there I was taken to the markets. Can El Khalili markets. I'm not sure whether that's pronounced correctly. And I met the company representative, and I still can't remember his name. Oh gosh, I've got to do this. I've got to look it up. His name is on the website. Mr. Ramadan. There we go. How's that? Mr. Ramadan. So yeah, met with Mr. Ramadan in a cafe in the street, and I sat down and had a Coke. Sat down, met him and sat down. He said, what do you want to drink? And I went, Coke. The guy that's come to us is going, no, you want cola? I went, yeah, Coke. Not Pepsi, not cola, I want Coke. So yeah, got Coke. And then I've gone, he's given it to me and I've gone, shakran. But however, when I've said it, it's come out and sounded like I said chocolate. So they had a good laugh about that. So that's where I got a little bit more of a lesson on how to say it. So we sat there for quite a while. I will say this about that company representative. He was, when I met him, he turned around and said, he was studying, and he was studying Chinese because he wanted to be able to take Chinese groups around. And whenever you saw a bus, you saw him looking and watching the bus. And then whenever you saw a bus that was full of, Facebook message, whenever you saw a bus with Chinese people on it, a Chinese group, he watched them more closely. So you could tell that was where he wanted to be. I actually got the feeling from him that sitting there with him was just an inconvenience. So he wasn't passionate about, I suppose, an Australian. I didn't, I tipped my guides. Mr. Ramadan, I gave him a tip. I gave him a tip. I don't think of all the times that I was with him, I didn't give him anything but the one tip. So there, we were taken through to the markets themselves, and one of the things they say is you go do some haggling and deal with that. And I'm not a haggler. I'm 100%. I can't haggle. Well, there's some symbols that are close to looking the same. So I wasn't eager to haggle. However, I would have. It was night time, it was dark, and it was just like walking around the alleyways. And it is the most, for there, that was where I felt unsafe. I felt so uncomfortable in those markets. It was night time and he was leading me around alleys. And Some of the stores were open, some of the stores were not open, and it just, yeah, that was my biggest unease and most uncomfortable place I'd been, was those markets. This guy was littler than me. If something happened, oh, there was no saving me. Not that I expect something to happen to me, but it was still, I did not feel safe. It was while walking through there that it was like, oh, well, I wish Nathan had been with me for those markets. It was just, he's my security blanket. But it was night time. We were walking around the markets, through alleyways, and there was dark places, and I couldn't get my bearings in this place. I just couldn't get my bearings. And none of the stalls, none of the shops were there. I kind of stopped and looked at, but then I didn't like being beckoned in. I'm not a person that, being beckoned into a store. I'd like to walk into a store without anyone there trying to push to make a sale. I'm uncomfortable basically feeling like I have to purchase. If I go into a store, I almost feel like I have to purchase, and then I won't go into a store where there's someone that's just, I couldn't do it. And it was night time, and I felt absolutely unsafe, absolutely uncomfortable being in that area. It was still reasonably early. I still had quite a few hours left to my flight out. However, Mr. Ramadan's turned around and, with his lack of enthusiasm, which didn't kind of help, has turned around and gone, oh, do you want to go to the airport now? So I went, yes. I was uncomfortable. He was not that good to be around. So we went back to the bus and taken to the airport. When I got to the airport, I turned around and said to my driver, I said, will I see you again? And he goes, yes. So I turned around and I said to him, well, I'll see you again, so I'll tip you at the end of the trip. So I had, when in Cairo, I had the same driver, same vehicle. So he's like nodded his head as if to say, yeah, right, she's not going to tip me. Although I tipped Magid, and Mr. Ramadan got this pissant little tip, he didn't, it was quite interesting. But he still, that driver kept me alive. That was brilliant. Taken to the airport, escorted in, he's assisted me to make sure I know where I'm going, where I need to go, because once they get to a certain point in the airport, they can't stay with you. And I wandered the airport a little bit. I found somewhere that sold Coke. I had so I did what I had to do with a drink and all that. And then I sat at the airport where my flight was to depart from. I sat there for, I think it was about 3 hours. So, I could have spent a lot more time around those markets if I felt safe, and if I had have actually enjoyed the company of my escort, my guide. But instead it was like, okay, I'll just go to the airport. And I sat there for hours. So that flight from Cairo to Aswan was a short flight. By saying a short flight, it's only about 1.5 hours. So after being on, when you do long flights, that just seems like a really short flight. But what I did manage to do in that flight, I fell asleep. I think I was asleep before the plane even took off, and I woke up as we were landing. I needed that sleep. Get to the airport, we land, and I get met by some young guys, and it's just like, is this for real? They had to sign up for my name, so you put your faith in these tour companies, don't you? So I had a couple of young guys. They've picked me up in a hotted up little car. It was pretty cool, really cool. And I shouldn't say hotted up little car. It wasn't a cheap car, but it was. The car had been given attitude, and then taken. Yeah, they just picked me up, and they were just driving me to where I was going to stay for a part of the night. So yeah, picked up, taken to boat where I was staying. Movenpick was actually on an island on the Nile. So I was taken in there, and the guys have turned around and said, okay, they've checked me in, and they've organised for a wake-up call and my packed lunch, a packed breakfast and a packed lunch. And the wake-up call was going to be in, I think it was about 3.5 hours. So from when I got into the hotel, the wake-up call was going to be in 3.5 hours. So in that time, I've gone back to my room and gone, okay, I need to sleep. I can't sleep without a shower. The room was amazing. I would have liked to stayed in that room for a lot longer. That was a really nice room. View looked good. So yeah, had my shower, gone to bed, and basically shut my eyes, and then opened my alarms to my wake-up call, and out we go. So I was picked up at 3:30, 4:30, something like that. I was in that moment semi-regretting the fact that I'd had an add-on to my tour. But what happened was I was picked up, taken to the airport to go to Abu Simbel. Now, to go to Abu Simbel, there was two choices how to get there. One was by plane, and one was by bus. Plane was a 45-minute plane ride. The bus, however, was about 3 hours under security or police escort or some form of escort, because where you were going to is south, right up to I think it was the Sudan border. So they need to give, it doesn't happen often, but they had to give additional security. There's a truck reversing up outside. My dog's about to get cranky again. Trying to decide what colour do I do next. 3042, which is this one. Tell you what, when you get to the middle of a big one like this, you know your colours. Oh no, I won't take from the jar. Take from here. So yeah, I opted with the 45-minute flight, which was really good. Basically, you get on the plane, they're on the taxiing, you get your safety instruction, you take off, you blink, you land. I did eat my breakfast on the plane. So yeah, and although at that time of getting up so early in the morning after so little sleep, Abu Simbel was worth the visit. It was worth it. If you happen to ever be fortunate enough to do it, go there. Yeah, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You find I'm not really going much into the detail of the places that I went to and saw. Everyone forms their own opinion. You can look it up and see what it's about online. I'm more talking about the experience. So yeah, I was picked up by a guy and taken there, and one of the things that the guys, when they picked me up from the hotel, the guys actually gave me an envelope and said, give this to your guide, give this to the man that's meeting you. They told me who I was meeting, can't quite remember his name. Give this to him. So when I've arrived, I've met the guide, and I've given him the envelope, and he's opened the envelope, and it's cash. So basically, what they've done, he's I suppose a subcontractor type thing. I think they all were. That was the way it works. So he had he opened up the envelope and there was cash in it. So that cash was one to pay for my entry, but the other was actually his payment for doing the job. So yeah, straight out cash. Good system. Good system. So yeah, he's taken me in, gone, and he's explained a lot. We sat outside, but it was absolutely stunning. It was stunning weather, beautiful, light breeze. Yeah, so gone in, he's taken me there. Yeah, I had a good look around. Oh, pardon me. Oh, gosh, tired still. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And then we left there and back to the airport to go back to Aswan. The flight was early, but because everybody was there, the flight left early. And then the flight that was supposed to be 45 minutes only took about 30 minutes. So it was basically up in the air, across a little bit, and then down. Oh my gosh, it was so quick. And that's when you go, oh, if it had been the bus, that would have been so long, drawn out. So get to the airport, and I'm picked up, met by the guy that drove me around the night before, or the morning before, and another bigger guy. And my chuckle is along the lines of, you know how you see the guys in safari suits and you can tell they're a guide. Well, that's what your guides wear, but this guy was, yeah, you could. There's no denying that he was a guide. You could spot the guides from a mile away, but there was no denying that he was a guide. And he's introduced himself and gone, my name is Radwan. You won't forget my name. You just think of red wine. He's a Muslim and he's referring to his name as an alcoholic, as an alcohol. But my response to him was, I'm allergic to red wine. The look on his face was priceless. So these are the little things that aren't on my website, because it's just little anecdotes. So yeah, Mr. Radwan. Okay, how do I describe Mr. Radwan? In Australia, so just pretend this is a person in Australia, one person. In Australia, we have personal space. We have a lot of personal space. So people don't stand next to each other. Cairo, because it's a tighter population, their personal space is like that. And oh my gosh, he was in my face. And that's the best way to put it. His teeth were not that good. My teeth aren't good, but for me to say somebody's teeth aren't good, his teeth weren't good. He smoked and his breath stank. And he was in your face, up close, and he talked directly to you, face to face like that. And oh my gosh, I mean, it probably wasn't that close, but it was very, very close. It took me a bit to get used to, and he didn't understand me stepping back to try and get personal space, because I'd take a step back and he'd take a step forward. But so yeah, he took me around. We went and saw the high dam, so the dam that was built. Oops, what's going on there? There was two stuck together then. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then we went to the Philae Temple to sit back and I ate my packed lunch at the Philae Temple. He took me around, talked about it. I will say the destruction that different countries have done to some of these monuments is, it's heartbreaking. yeah, depending on where they came from, on how they affected the monuments. But yeah, go from there, take what you will. She took me around the temple and explained everything up close and personal with my face. And then once he'd finished talking, he turned around and said, I will be over here. Take your time, wander around, take photos now. This is your time to take photos. When you are finished and taken all the photos, oops, that one I flung and it's gone all the way over. When you're finished taking photos and wandering around, I'll be over here in this building, over in this area here, having lunch, and when you finish, come and sit down and have lunch, and then we'll go from there. But no rush, take your time. So I've gone around and had a further look around, taken photos, and yeah, it was good to do. And I appreciated at that point of time where he'd left me, because I was able to try and absorb what he had told me. Because when he was actually speaking to me, I was more concentrating on the fact that he was so close to me. But yeah, I then managed to absorb some of what he told me while I was gone back over where we'd been. So what happens is you get taken around to have a look at everything, and then you're left alone so that you can go back and have another look again. So you basically tour the same place. You go around one place twice. So yeah, had my look around, taken my photos. So that was Egypt day 4. So the Philae temple in itself was on an island, so we hopped on a little boat to go there. And then, so when I went to where he was for lunch, there was all these cats around. This is the first time I'd noticed so many cats. Like you have cats in Egypt. Well, they were everywhere. And basically when you were eating, they were there in your face. I actually had to shoo one of the cats away. And I love cats, and I had to shoo a cat away, and it actually lashed out and scratched me. So yeah, I wasn't impressed with that. So one goes to spray on antiseptic to make sure that any germs are killed. Don't know whether I did or not. So yeah, we've done that, gone there, had a look, had lunch, gone back on the boat, back to the vehicle. The guys that were there before picked us up, and then we were taken to the Nile. We were on the Nile before, but another section of the Nile, and I was supposed to get on a felucca boat. I think because it was just me, it wasn't a big enough group for a single person on a felucca, but maybe not. I rode one, turned around and said, we're going to hop on one of the boats that's motorised, because then we can make sure you're back in time to get to your cruise ship, my cruise boat. I wouldn't say ship, it was a boat, it was little. So yeah, we've gone around Elephantine Island, pointed out, is it Agatha Christie, the place where she stayed, or place where she wrote one of her novels on. Pointed out quite a few things, which was it was cool. By the time we got to the end of it, there was a bit of chill through the air, and we were taken straight to where the boat was tied up to get on there. Well, that was an experience getting on the boat, because Radwan has actually gone to the counter to check me in, and for the way he was talking, it actually looked like there wasn't a booking for me. That was the way it seemed. He had massive discussion with him, and he had massive discussion with them, and then he's turned around and come back to me, because he left me on the chair to watch this. And he's come back to me and goes, "Oh, well, go upstairs. We'll take you up to the top, and you can just sit up there for a while and just relax, have a cup of tea or have a drink, and I'll come back and get you shortly." So he's gone back down, and then half an hour or more later, he's come back and he's gone, "Okay, your room's ready." So my guessing is, and this is where I was really concerned, my guessing was that my cabin actually hadn't been booked. That was the impression I got. Or it had been booked, but it hadn't gone processed properly or whatever. So, I think he's done the hard yards and managed to get me a room. Now I paid for a single supplement, so I should be getting a full-size room. I ended up in the room right at the bottom of the boat, closest to the restaurant, which not too bad, closest to the restaurant. And I've walked into the room, and where there was room for a queen-size bed, there was a single bed. And you could tell that there had been a queen-size bed there because the bedside tables were so wide apart that you could fit a bed there. I've gone into my room, into the cabin, and seen this single bed. So there's disappointment there. I've gone and looked out the window, and my window was only like 2 inches high. I was at water level. So I just had this huge disappointment of, I've paid to go 5-star deluxe, and I have a single bed in a room that is at water level, no views, and I was so disappointed about it, but I was also so tired. So I don't know whether my disappointment I could have held in for longer if I hadn't been so tired. My worst point of the trip was this room, this cabin. I was, basically, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I cried. I bawled my eyes out. I was so disappointed and tired that I cried. I don't cry that much, but that was really hit me. I suffer anxiety, so what I did do, because I travel with it, I had Valium. I was so wound up and upset about it that I'd actually thrown back the Valium to try and get myself back to a normal state, and had a Valium, had a shower, went to bed. I woke up at dinner time. I went into the restaurant and said who I was. The look on their faces were like, as if there wasn't a table, that I wasn't on the booking sheet. So I've ended up at this table at the back of the restaurant. Table for 4, all by myself. So that was a disappointment, because when you travel solo, one of the great things about travelling solo is meeting other people. So apart from my guides, up until that point, I had not, apart from guides and people in restaurants, people that serve, I hadn't really spoken to anybody. So that's another thing that I'd actually gotten, one of the reasons why I was feeling a bit emotional. No conversation. Apart from the calls that I'd made to Nathan, my partner, that was it. So I had no real conversations with anybody. And then I've gone into the restaurant, and the way they have it set up is the different tour groups are seated all together. So you sit there having your dinner all by yourself. Even the guides have their own table. They don't sit with you. Your guides don't sit with you. So guides come on, they have their own table. So that was, I sat there all alone, having my dinner all by myself. I had my breakfast sitting there all by myself. So the whole time that I was on there, I was, by myself, basically. So there was no interaction. On the boat, there was very hard to get internet reception, so it was hard to I couldn't video chat Nathan. So it was all messages. So yeah, that was my first day on that boat was horrible. But yeah, so we stayed tied up for a while, and then eventually we took off. I think we had departed by the time dinner was. I was at dinner. Yeah. So that was a full-on day, followed by this emotional little outburst that nobody saw, thankfully. And yeah, went to bed. Radwan did come and see me while I was having dinner, and turned around and said, we can meet me such and such to go to here. They changed the itinerary a bit for me as well, but at that point it was just standard itinerary here. Meet me up at this location on the boat at this time, and we'll go so we can go and see such and such. So yeah, need wax on my tool. So yeah, I've done that. Met him. I had a couple of. So my dinner that night, that first night on the boat, was yet again salad. And I know when you travel to some places, because of the water quality, you shouldn't eat anything that's not cooked. If it's just washed in water, you're likely to get there, whatever going around, whatever your body isn't used to that quality of water. But there was nothing appetizing, so it was salad. I believe I paid for that salad in the next couple of days. I've woken up and I've gone, my stomach's not that good. And then met with Radwan, went and, what temple was it that we went to? Hang on. Edfu. We went to Komovo first, and halfway through having a look there, my stomach's like gone, nah, what you've eaten, I don't like it. So I've had to rush him through. I didn't go back to take photos, because I've just turned around and said to him, I need to go back to my room. I was so unwell. And then we've gotten out of that area, and he said, well, you've got to go in and have a look at the mummified crocodile museum. And I've looked at him, and he goes, well, you're not going to see it again, so you've got to go in there and at least have a look. So basically I've gone in one end, out the other within minutes, and gone, okay, I've been there, I need to get back to the boat. So yeah, back to the boat I went, and I was violently ill, and put the do not disturb. Thankfully the guys had been in, made up my room, and put the do not disturb sign up. I was not well. One of the things that I do before I go away is I visit a travel doctor, and I was given some really good antibiotics. So yeah, I've taken these antibiotics because I was so sick. There's one left. I've got to find a place for it. Come on, turn over. So yeah, from there we cruised up the river. Still my stomach not 100% happy, but I'd taken the antibiotics, which what I was given as an antibiotic, you only need to take one, and gastro stop. So before I've gotten off the boat, because I had to go to Edfu Temple. So yeah, we've gotten off the boat and gone to Edfu Temple. Stomachs all back to semi-normal. Carriage ride to the temple, where all the guys had their little two-seater carriages, were basically trying to race each other to try and get ahead of each other, which seemed like a bit of a precarious situation to be in, because they were pushing their horses. And I felt sorry for them watching them, because they were even using the whips, and I don't agree with whips, but that's another matter. That's my own personal feeling. Oops, I've just seen one that I missed. So yeah, we've ended up with this on this one little carriage buggy thingy, where I'd say he's been whipped one too many times, because the driver tried to get his horse to his whatever it was to go faster, and just about every time, there we go, another one I missed, just about every time the driver put the whip towards the horse kicked back. So yeah, that was a bit of a jerky ride, because he kept trying to use his whip on the horse, and the horse was not taking it. So our horse was noticeably slower than everybody else, but good on the horse for kicking back. Oh, okay, I think that's all of them. Rightio. So yeah, I'll leave that one alone, but yeah. So we've gone in, done the temple. Some of this stuff still amazes me. Some of the stuff that that's in these temples is just amazing. So there, I've come out of the temple. When you go in, you don't see any vendors. You don't see anyone selling stuff when you go in. When you come out, you're taken in one door, and then you're taking out another gate, in one door and out another gate to come out. And when you come outside that gate, that's where all the vendors are, with all their stalls set up trying to sell stuff. Oh, Mr. Radwan, he met me at that gate, because like the last places, he takes you around, and then he says, go take your photos. Oh, where did that go? There it is. So yeah, he's met me at the gate, and you've done the gauntlet past these sellers. Oh my goodness. Yet again, I hate pushy sellers. And everyone I came up to was, come in, you buy, type thing. You come, trying to convince you to come in. And I'm just going shakran, shaking my hand, shaking my head, shaking my hand to say, I'm not interested. And then I think it was the second last stall. The guy in there didn't come out. He just sat there. He was just sitting there. So I've turned around and said to Radwan, I'll go in this one. The guy's gotten up and had a bit of a chat with me about, this, that and the other that's in the thing. And he said, I'll leave you be. Oh my goodness. To be sold, I'll leave you be. He left me to wander around this store by myself. I could see him watching me, so that if I actually needed to ask questions or I wanted something, he would have been there in an instant. But yeah, that was the best stall I went into. However, I did purchase from there, and my haggling skills are horrible. I could see Red One out of the corner of my eye while I'm trying to haggle this guy down in price on this article. And I could see Red One in the background. I can see, he can hear what this guy's trying to charge me. And I can see his head shaking and the look on his face. And because I can't haggle, I got the guy down a little bit. Just a little bit, not much. That's how bad it was. And when I've come out, I said, how did it go? I said, Red One, how did it go? And he goes, you paid 3 times too much than you should have. Meh. Seriously, care factor. I can't haggle, fully aware of I can't haggle, so I wasn't too overly concerned. I believed I would have been paying too much, but no haggling done by me. No real haggling anyway. So yeah. So back to, hang on, I'm just trying to, I can't, this is when I've learnt to use a magnifying glass at this stage. This actually helps me pick up those ones that I've missed. Oh, okay. I believe I got them all. Okay. So yeah, paid too much. And then we get on the same carriage we took off in and get back to the boat, and this guy has come up with the photographs. They'd taken a photograph of me while I was on the carriage. I hadn't realised it. But the thing is, this guy that took the photograph, the picture that he took, what am I looking at, the star things? The picture that he took was where all you could see of me was my camera held up to my face. So you could see my clothing, you couldn't even see my face, which suited me fine. But who's going to buy a picture like that when you can't even see who it actually is in the picture? So I turned around and went, no, don't want the photo. Guy was disappointed, and I felt a little bit guilty about not buying the photo, because that's how they make their living there. But maybe if this guy had actually taken the photo, let me know he was going to take the photo, get that out of the way, I would have gotten in a position where he could take a photo with my face, and that's all, and then I probably would have bought it. But because he took the photo without me realising he was taking the photo, I don't do glamorous shots, but that was a really bad photo. No consideration. So yeah, I know the driver of that carriage was paid at the start of it, but I still had to pay him at the end of it, so I had to tip him. I will say I don't think I tipped him very well, but then I didn't like the way he whipped the horse. Did I say that? Yeah. Okay, just picked up a couple that I need to do with this. So yeah, back to the boat the rest of the time. Oh, hang on. Oh, I hate this bit. Oh, okay. I've got to go back to my colours. Alright, I'm actually going to show you this. I go through this every time I look at it. So you see this symbol, right? And this symbol. They're not they're similar, but they're not that similar, and I struggle with it every time I look at it. I'm just trying to find it. Where is it? Where was that symbol? 3078. Oh. Sorry for the silence. This is while I'm bloody contemplating the symbol. It's the reddish one anyway because of the area it's in. There's no light yellow. Okay. So yeah, gone back to the boat. Yeah, dinner uneventful. Sitting by myself. Road one just coming over and saying hello, and we'll meet you at this time. It's for the next day. So yeah. I just, if I had to recommend going on a Nile cruise, if you were going to do it, I wouldn't recommend these guys. But I think all the Nile cruises are exactly the same. Not like a cruise ship. Everything has to be, because there's not much room. Yeah, well, leave that there. Okie dokie. Oh, one more. So yeah, let's go for there. Oh, pardon me. There we go again, another yawn. Oops, there's one I missed as well. So yeah, that was basically up to, I am gonna stop there because this is actually quite a long recording. Where was it? Come on, where are you? I know I should have put my finger down and kept that location. Where are you? There it is. Okay, that's got it. That one was just a bit raised. Okay. So yeah, on that note, on this section, what I am going to do is I'm going to call it stop to the recording. I will continue. I'll finish this section before I go. But hopefully you've enjoyed my little chat about my little part of my trip. So all the way up to day 5. There's lots more to it, but yeah, that's day 5. When I do my next drill with me, I'll start off at day 6 and go from there. But please, pardon me again, please have a look at my website. I will put the link in so you can have a look, because it's pretty cool website. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please, if you like, thumbs up, subscribe. One thing I forgot to mention is, yay, I've reached over 100 subscribers. Told my partner and he's like, wow, somebody actually watches you doing that. So yeah, please hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I will talk to you next time, and I'll bring you from day 6 of my Egypt holiday. So yeah, thanks for watching, and bye for now.